want to discuss more into detail. So we'll stop there, we'll take a pause and we'll move ahead time, okay? So this is for everybody who's gonna join us today and tomorrow. So before that, before we start, before we even talk about what we're gonna discuss today and tomorrow, let's do Ardas to Maharaj, let's do a little Beinti. The Ardas to Sache Pacha ji so that Maharaj bless us with this beautiful Sama, that concentration so that we'll be able to contemplate on the Shabad, on the part of a Lama as well. We're going to discuss in detail, and also the Maryada of the Panth. No? So let's do a little Beinti to Maharaj. Let's do Ardas ji. Vaheguru ji. Dandot Bandan Anak Bar Sarv Kala Samrath Kirpa Nid Dayal Ek Akhar Har Man Basat Nanak. Our Sikh brothers and sisters, that what Sikhi aims, what are the aims of Sikhi? Being a Sikh, what do we want to achieve? Theek? So everyone has their own purpose in life. Everyone goes through a different purpose. That purpose may be, Tika ji, I want to be a good engineer. I want to be a good doctor. I want to be that. I want to do this. I want to have this life, this, that. Right? I want to have this luxury in my family. Oh, I think about when I'm going to get married, I'm going to wear that dress today. Right? Or you think about, okay, I'm going to get married to this girl, that boy. We think about all these stuff being when we were growing up, right? So all these thoughts and processes needs to be aligned somewhere, right? If one Sikh thinks about something and the other Sikh thinks about something else, there cannot be uniformity in the Panth. So we need to bring out that uniformity to understand or to align ourselves with what a Sikhi tradition is, where we can fit ourselves into it and believe in being what a Sikh should believe in, okay? So the first point is the aim of Sikhi. What does Sikhi wants to aim? The second one is the spiritual significance of the Anand Karaj. So we're going to talk about this in detail. What is the significance of Anand Karaj? As I mentioned before, this is not a ritual ceremony, not just a ritual ceremony, but is way beyond a ritual ceremony. So when a Sikh believes in the teachings of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, believes in the Sikhi, then only he'll be able to partake in the ceremony of being in the Anand karaj ceremony. Theek ji? So we're going to talk about the spiritual significance as well. The third one, we're going to talk about the flow of Anand karaj ceremony. What are you going to do before the Anand karaj, during the Anand karaj day, and after your Anand karaj is done, how your roles and responsibilities are defined. We're going to talk about that. And the fourth one is a successful Sikh marriage. We're going to talk about the tips and techniques that Maharaj gives us, or the Gursikh gives us, so that we have a successful marriage, right? In the West, when you see, there are different disturbances that the families or the couples go through because of the reason that their aim and their thought process is not aligned, right? So Guru Sahib Ji gives us those techniques to live a beautiful married life, and what the constituents of that married life we're going to talk about. Theek ji? So this is the course layout. The first part of the course talks about the Sikh, the aim of Sikhi, who is Guru, what's their role, the 5 Sikh ceremonies, the types of marriages, and the history of Anand Karaj. We're going to talk about this today. The part B is the actual meaning of Lama Bani, the Bani that Guru Ramdas Sache Pacha ji ne, jehdi Bani charan ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਬਾਣੀ ਨੂੰ ਕੀਰਤਨੀ ਸਿੰਘ ਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥੀ ਸਿੰਘ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਆ, ਐਂਡ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਆਨੰਦ ਕਾਰਜ ਆ, ਉਹ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੀ ਪਰਿਕਰਮਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. Right? They do parikrama of Sache Pacha Ji during the marriage ceremony. That Bani is called Lama, and we're going to talk about the meanings of that Bani tomorrow. And also, if we have frequently asked questions, whatever question that comes to, when we run this course, the kind of youngsters like Aapji who are going to get married or they want to be part of this course, they have in their mind, they ask us those questions, so we put all that questions here so that, we can answer those questions and thoughts as well. So the format of Anand Karaj, what happens on the day, and the guidance of married life we're going to talk about. And also we're going to talk about like a bonus thing, guidance to bring up the kids. ठीक है? Okay ji, हाँ जी. So this is the second module. So what do you think? A learner, very well. हाँ जी, और जी. What do you think is a Sikh? Who's a Sikh? So Sikh literally means being a learner, as Meji also said, right? So Sikh is the one who believes in the teachings of Sache Paatshah. ठीक है जी? So before going to the Sikh, let's learn about who's the Guru. Tiska nao, tiske sang Sikh udre, nanak har gun ga. ठीक है? So who's har banaya ya? O Satpurkha. The one who understood the Creator is Satguru ji. The one who understood the Creator is Satgur. Satgur is Sri Guru Nanak Dev ji, Sri Guru Angad Dev ji, Sri Guru Amar Das ji, the series of 10 Gurus that we have. Hai na? So the Satgur, the one who understood Satpurkh, and they are nobody else but the manifestation of Akal Purkh themselves. ठीक है जी? ਹੁਣ ਇਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਨਾ ਕਿ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਵੱਖਰਾ ਆ, ਸਤਿਪੁਰਖ ਵੱਖਰਾ ਹੈ. ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ is different, Guru is different. No. ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਜਾਣਿਆ, ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਤਿਸਕਾ ਨਾਉ is a Sikh. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? So Guru Nanak, so you have Akal Purkh, who is a Satpurkh, then you have Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who is a Satguru, and then you have Sikh, who is the Sikh of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. ठीक है जी? Who believes in the teachings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Then definition of a Sikh, who ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? ਉਹ ਇਹ ਮੰਨਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਕਿ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਐਗਜ਼ਿਸਟ ਕਰਦਾ. Somebody who is an atheist cannot be a Sikh. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? Who doesn't believe in God can never be a Sikh. ठीक है? To be a Sikh, that person has to first accept that there is a Creator and He is the one who created us all. There is no distinction between you, me, anybody else. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? So ਉਹ Creator ਆ, ਉਹਨੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਪੈਦਾ ਕੀਤਾ. That's the first point a Sikh should always believe in. Second, a Sikh should believe in the 10 Gurus and their teachings. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉਪਰੰਤ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ. ਸਿੱਖ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਰੋਲ ਆ? What do you think? What do you think ਸਿੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ? What is the role of a Sikh? ਹਾਂਜੀ, say honest living, truthful and honest living. ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣਾ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? So the three pillars of Sikhism that we call. That's the first ever role and responsibility of being a Sikh. If you on the Creator, ठीक है? Gur Satgur ka, that's the first Bhagati. Gur Satgur ka jo Sikh khaye, so palke uth har naam te aave. Then Maharaj says, Uddam kare, palke prabhati, isnan kare, amrit sar naave. That's the second thing to do. What is the second thing? Uddam kare. A Sikh should never be lazy. ठीक है? Jida alsi a, ਉਹ Sikh नहीं ਆ. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਲਸੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸਿੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਆਲਸੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ. ਸੋ ਸਿੱਖ ਸ਼ੁਡ ਨੈਵਰ ਬੀ ਲੇਜ਼ੀ. ਉਦਮ ਕਰੇ ਭਲਕੇ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਤੀ, ਇਸਨਾਨ ਕਰੇ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਨਾਲ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? When they have done the meditation, the moment they got up in the morning, they should sit cross-legged and meditate upon the Creator. Once they are done with it, then they should get up from their bed and do Ishnan. ठीक है? When they did their Ishnan, ਫਿਰ ਚੜੇ ਦਿਵਸ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਗਾਵੇ, ਬਹਿੰਦੇ ਉੱਠਦੇ ਹਰ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਆਵੇ. When they got up from the bed, they did their Ishnan, they should always contemplate upon the Gurbani. Nothing should come to your mind. You should not be looking at your Instagram or your Snapchat or your Facebook early in the morning, because that's the time which a Sikh should be spending with their Guru. They should spend all 24 hours, but that's the mandatory thing for a Sikh should do. ठीक है जी? महाराज कहती फिर चढ़े दिवस गुरबाणी गावे बहदियाँ उठदियाँ हर नाम ते आवे. Whenever a Sikh is roaming around, most of the times we are busy on our phones. We are talking to somebody or we're talking nuisance this way or the other. But Maharaj says, don't waste your time. A Sikh has a purpose. That purpose is to merge back into the Creator. To do that, Maharaj has given us this beautiful discipline of life. That beautiful discipline is to merge by meditating. ठीक है जी ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਭਗਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ परमात्मा सानू अपने विच मिला दे टाइम. ठीक है जी. महाराज कहते उपदेश गुरु एक दोख पाप लै जावे. की होवेगा what will happen if you एक दोख पाप लै जावे. की होवेगा what will happen if you are going to follow the wisdom of the guru. की होगा all the bad things, all the bad thoughts, all the bad things that create poison in your life, they're going to go away. ठीक है. फिर की हुंदा ਆਪਾਂ normally ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ we live life in our own way. We want to create things, we want to live a life in our own way, and there comes a point where our mind breaks, our thought breaks, our life breaks. And when it happens, then we realize, okay, ਚੰਗਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਚੰਗਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦਾ. That's the time when I could have done it. But when today I don't have time to do it, when I'm so engrossed into Maya, when my thoughts are luring for things, this or that, my mind is shaking up, my body is shaking up, I don't know what to do today. But now I am. Okay? So that the Guru is recommending to the Sikh. Ki jesu de tusi apne aap nu Sikh khwaune hai. If you call yourself a Sikh, de tusi apne aap nu Sikh khwaune hai. If you call yourself a Sikh, get up early in the morning and contemplate on the words of the Guru. The Guru says, early in the morning and contemplate on the words of the Guru. The Guru says, Sikha, jhoot nahi bolna. Karna. That says that do not ever. When you're going to contemplate on the wisdom of the Guru, fir kade haar nahi hundi, fir kade dukh nahi honda. What happens? Aapa kehne asi idda karna, we're going to do marriage like this. We're going to live our life like this. This is our morning routine. This is our life is supposed to be. But when it comes to that level, then we realize, acha, now it's difficult to carry on with this marriage. ठीक है? फिर लगता it is difficult to, we're kind of stretching our relations together. I don't feel like emotions anymore because we didn't follow this. Sab kilvik dog papala didn't follow this. Sab kilvik dog papala java will happen only then when we're going to contemplate on the wisdom of the Guru. The Guru is telling us, Sikha, live with java. The one who comes within the sanctuary of the Guru and accepts the Pana, accepts the will of Vaheguruji, can call themselves a Sikh. ठीक है? If you're going to think about, nahi, meri zindagi mein apne ansar jiuni hai, I'm going to live my life in my own way. But just think about, we decide our life to be in a certain way, but do you think our parents or our grandparents, they don't wish us well? They do. But still, sometimes you think like, Mom, tusi rehn do. फिर ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੂੰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਹੋਇਆ? Why this happened with coming back to me and complaining about the things that you've done wrong? I'm not responsible for it. But still, he takes care of it even then. ठीक है जी? What happens? Sokh kade na paave. We're never going to be happy. We're going to dance all night. I'm going to drink this. I'm going to drink that. I'm going to wear this. I'm going to go to this destination. Do this, do that. That might make you temporarily happy. Parvirti and nirvirti. So we're going to talk about it. My mind is ready. My thoughts are ready to change myself. So it's not just about, okay, Tika ji, I'm going to get into a marriage where the other person should accept me the way I am. Sikhi doesn't talk about that way. Sikhi says that my part struggles that I was facing, and this is the time to change myself to accommodate the other person into my life. ठीक है जी? It's not just physical but spiritual as well. Think about the journey of spirituality, where we're going to walk on this beautiful path of spirituality, and we're going to change ourselves, thinking about when I'm going to meet Maharaj, ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੂੰਗਾ, ਕੀ ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਐਕਸੈਪਟ ਕਰੂਗਾ? ਕਿ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ ਘਰ ਵਾਲੀ ਐਕਸੈਪਟ ਕਰੂਗਾ? ਵੀ ਆਰ ਆਲ ਸੋਲ ਬ੍ਰਾਈਡਸ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਜਿੰਦ ਵਹੁਟੀ ਮਰਨ ਵਰ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਦਿਸ ਵੀ ਗੋਇੰ ਟੂ ਟਾਕ ਅਬਾਊਟ ਦਿਸ. ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਿੰਦ ਆ, ਦ ਸੋਲ, ਇਟਸ ਗੋਇੰ ਟੂ ਡਾਈ ਵਨ ਡੇ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਸਰੀਰ ਮਰ ਜਾਣਾ, ਇਹ ਜਿੰਦ ਚਲੀ ਜਾਣੀ. ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਸੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਿੰਦ ਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਚਲੀ, die and going to meet to, ਸੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਿੰਦ ਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਚਲੀ, die and going to meet to the husband, the death. ਠੀਕ ਆ? ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੰਤ ਪਿਆਰਾ ਆ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਮਿਲਾਂਗੇ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਰੱਖ ਲਊਗਾ? ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਹੂਗਾ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਚੰਗੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ, ਇਹਦਾ ਕਿਰਦਾਰ ਚੰਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਇਹਦਾ ਸੁਭਾਅ ਚੰਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ? But no, that might not happen. So we need to work on ourselves, our life, our routine from today onwards. Hai na? So now we're going to talk about the 5 ceremonies, the Panj Sanskar. Mostly in Ratname, in Sikh Rat Maryada of the STPC, we're going to give aap kyun paya janda? That's the Janam Sanskar ceremony. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? ਕਿਉਂ? So there's a ceremony in ਆਪਣੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਗੁੜਤੀ ਦੇਣਾ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਸੋ ਇਹ ਗੁੜਤੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ, ਦਿਸ ਨਾਟ ਗੁੜਤੀ, ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ ਗੁੜਤੀ ਹੈਜ਼ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਮੀਨਿੰਗਸ. ਗੁੜਤੀ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ? ਜਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੁੜ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? ਉਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ? ਗੁੜ ਹੈਜ਼ ਕਲੈਂਜ਼ਿੰਗ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀਜ਼, ਸੋ ਦੇ ਕਲੀਨ ਆਊਟ ਦ ਬੋਡੀ ਆਫ ਅ ਚਾਈਲਡ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? But then later on, it becomes a religious, a cultural practice, not religious practice, but mostly they say ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੋਈ ਗੁੜਤੀ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਭੁਜੰਗੀ ਭੁਜੰਗੜ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਰਗਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਉਹਦਾ ਸੁਭਾਅ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਰਗਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਹੈ ਨਾ? But the Sikhi doesn't follow this practice. ਸਿੱਖੀ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ? ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਆ ਉਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਲਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? ਉਹਦਾ ਸੁਭਾਅ ਗੁਰੂ ਵਰਗਾ ਹੋਵੇ. So the very first, when a child is born, ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਮੁੱਖ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜਲ ਪਾਇਆ ਗਿਆ, that jal is being created or formed through the Bani of Japji Sahib. So when the Sikh drinks the few drops, the child, the Bani gets inside the child, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? And the rest of the water in the bata, the mother can drink that bata, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, of jal. You take a deg along with it, ਜਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ deg ਕਰਾ ਲਓ. And then the ਅਰਦਾਸੀਆ ਸੰਗ ਦਾ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮੇ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਅੱਖਰ ਆਉਂਦਾ, ਉਸ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮੇ ਦੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਅੱਖਰ ਤੋਂ ਭੁਜੰਗੀ ਤੇ ਭੁਜੰਗਣ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ. That's the part of the Janam Sanskar. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? Then we're going to talk about the Vidya Sanskar. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਿਦਿਆ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਆ, ਹੁਣ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਭੁਜੰਗੀ ਜਾਂ ਭੁਜੰਗੜ ਵੱਡਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, they are of the age of whatever age that of Vidya Sanskar. Vidya Sanskar ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਗ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ, ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ, they go to that we're going to start the learning of this child from today. ਤੇ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਵੇਕ ਬੁੱਧ ਬਖਸ਼, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? May Maharaj bless wisdom, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? That's part of the Vidya Sanskar. And the third one is the Amrit Sanskar, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਖੰਡੇ ਬਾਟੇ ਕੀ ਪੌਲ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? So every Sikh who wants to be a Khalsa, who wants to be a Sikh of the Guru, because initial Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave Charan Paul to Guru Angad Dev Ji. That was the practice that we used to follow. That was part of the Khande Bate Ki Paul. Khande Bate Ki Paul ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਜਦੋਂ 5 ਸਿੰਘ ਤਿਆਰ ਪਰ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੋਣ, ਉਹ ਖੰਡੇ ਬਾਟੇ ਕੀ ਪੌਲ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈ. They put jal, they put patase, and they read 5 ਬਾਣੀਆਂ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? ਜਪਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜਾ like complete don'ts when you're partaking part into the Amrit ceremony, ਹੈ ਨਾ? Amrit don'ts when you're partaking part into the Amrit ceremony, ਹੈ ਨਾ? Amrit Sanchar ceremony, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? Sanskar ceremony, this ceremony, every Sikh who wants to marry needs to go through this ceremony. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਇਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਨੰਦ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਸੈਰਮਨੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਹਜ਼ੂਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ understands the meaning of Bani and they do parikrama of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਜਦੋਂ ਪਰਿਕਰਮਾ ਕਰਦੇ when they do parikrama of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, they believe in the Bani of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji and they believe that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the Sakshi. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀ ਹਜ਼ੂਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, being in the presence of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, we are believing or we are committing ourselves to be husband and wife. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਇਹ ਸੌ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀ ਹਜ਼ੂਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ we surrender ourselves to the Guru and to the other person who is my partner as well. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ। So whosoever is going to follow the Grasti Jeevan, going to be part of a family and they be going to be called as a family. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ। And the fifth one is called Antam Sanskar. So whenever somebody dies, whether that person is young, a child, a teenager or an adult or somebody is of old age, whenever they dies, they go through this practice. ठीक है जी। So Antam Sanskar ceremony, they do part of Sola Sahib Bani, then they do Ardas, which is called the Antam Ardas. ठीक है जी। ਤੇ ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ not the Antam Ardas but the Ardas that they do when they're going to cremate. The Ardasiya Sang do the Ardas. ठीक है। The Ardas is called the Antam Ardas. ठीक है। So there are all these practices. ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁਣ a lot of people the soul is if you're going to not do this or not do that, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਆ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗਾ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਇੱਥੇ ਇਨਫੈਕਟ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਚੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕਰ ਗਿਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਡਾਂਗ ਮਾਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। So that the person forgets whatever the person has in the memory. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। But it's all practices, but they are popular, so people do it, but Sikhi doesn't resonate with it. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ। There's one more pankti. So when Guru Amar Das Sache Paatshah Ji, Maharaj Sachkhand, because I'm going to go at my husband's house. ठीक है। मैं अपने घर चले हैं। ठीक है। Even in Gurbani Maharaj says ਸੰਤ ਮੋਏ ਕਿਆ ਰੋਈਐ, ਆ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਤੇ ਪਿੱਛੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੋਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕੁਰਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ, but that doesn't make sense because they're going to go at their house. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਫਿਰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਬੋਲਿਆ, ਅੰਤੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਬੋਲਿਆ, ਮੈਂ ਪਿੱਛੋਂ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕਰਿਓ ਨਿਰਵਾਣ ਜੀ। Whenever I'm going to go to Sachkhand, don't cry. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਇੱਥੇ ਲੋਕ ਵੈਣ job to cry aloud. The louder you cry, they're going to pay you more for that. ठीक है। That's a practice that they do. ठीक है। But Maharaj ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੈ, but do not cry because this is the reality of life. All these things that we are talking just now, this is the reality of life. This is going to happen. A child is going to born and he might die the next moment as well. That's the reality of life. ठीक है। Maharaj ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, do not cry but do kirtan after, because kirtan connects you with Paramatma. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲੈ ਜਾਣਾ। ਕਿਉਂ ਲੈ ਜਾਣਾ? ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਨਾਟ ਡਨ ਗੁੱਡ ਡੀਡਸ ਇਨ ਆਵਰ ਲਾਈਫ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਚੰਗੇ ਕਰਮ ਕਮਾਏ ਨਹੀਂ, ਨਾ ਭਗਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ, ਨਾ ਜਪ ਤਪ ਸੰਜਮ ਧਰਮ ਨਾ ਕਮਾਇਆ, ਸੇਵਾ ਸਾਧ ਨਾ ਜਾਣਿਆ ਹਰ ਰਾਇਆ, ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਮ ਨੀਚ ਕਰਮਾ, ਸਰਨ ਪਰੇ ਕੀ ਰਾਖੋ ਸਮ। That the soul pride cries out loud, says, Maharaj rakh lao. Even in Gurbani, Maharaj says, there's a tanad. I'm going to finish all the tasks, the pending tasks that I have, and you can take me tomorrow. I'll be happily going with you tomorrow, but give me a night's time. तो ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬਈ ਜਮਦੂਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਤੇ ਜਮਦੂਤ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ no, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੁਕਮ ਹੈ, we're going to take you right away right now. ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬਈ ਕਰੋ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਗਾਮ ਕਿਛ ਬਾਕੀ, ਲਿਓ ਨਿਬੇੜ ਆਜ ਕੀ ਰਾਤੀ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। किश भी खर्च तुम्हारा साऊं. That person tries to bribe the Jamdut. I'm a rich man. I'm going to give you so much of money. Lelo. I'm going to give you houses. I'm going to give you luxuries, this or that. Kende tusi lelo and leave me for just tonight. Kende nahi. We cannot leave you even for a fraction of a second. ठीक है जी। That happens. Is the marriage to a partner. Is the physical marriage that we talk about. When we are born, we were born from a union of our parents. That union which involves two humans, one male and one female. They go through a ceremony, and that ceremony is called as marriage. Okay? You can call it any in any different type of religion. There are different customary practices, but every one doesn't go through this. ठीक है जी? Most of them, they do not marry. Even in the West, if you see, there are people who do not marry throughout their life. ठीक है? But Mara says that this is the type of marriage where most of us will go through and have to go through if they want to follow or create a family. One is Vahiguru. So the third one says, Jag mein uttam kaadiye Paatshah ji. ठीक है जी? असी कौन है? इस जग में पुरख एक है और सगली नार सभाए. इस संसार विच there is only one male. वो कौन है? परमात्मा himself. ठीक है जी? What we are or who we are the soul brides. What we are looking for? We're looking for Paramatma so that he comes in and takes us along. ठीक है जी? But what are we doing here फिर ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ हैं? ਜੇ ਇਹੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਜਾਵੇ, ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ? We are preparing ourselves. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? ਅਸੀਂ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ so that we become worthy for him to accept us. So that he's able to say that I'm going to marry this person. Think about who is worthy for you. ठीक है? And just think about Paramatma. If Paramatma is going to marry you, he's going to make you worthy first. ठीक है? So we're going to be worthy of him. If we can be, or if we become worthy of him, he's going to accept us. But for that, we need to get through the process. That process is Gurbani. That process is Sikhi living. That process is going through the discipline of being a Sikh. If we go through it, the third type of marriage is going to happen. But it happens with very few. ठीक है जी? It cannot happen with me. It can happen with me, but if I follow the path. If I do not follow the path, it will not happen. When Guru Nanak Dev Sache Paatshah ji got married, the Pandey or the Pandits, they brought in Guru Nanak Dev Ji when Guru Nanak Dev Ji was of the age 13 or 14. They called Guru Nanak Dev Ji and said that you're going to take turns around the fire, going to be married. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, why fire? Why do you want me to take turns around the fire? Why not something else? So Guru Nanak Dev Ji asked this question, and Pandey were reluctant, and they said, fire, because fire is pure. ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਗਨ ਆ ਉਹ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬੇਦੀ ਦੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਫੇਰੇ ਲੈਣੇ ਆ. ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬਈ ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਅਗਨ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਕੋਈ ਚੀਜ਼ ਲੈ ਆਵਾਂ, if I bring in something which is even more sacred than the fire, will you accept? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਲੈ ਆਓ. The Pandits were very, clever in their mind. They said, whatever Guru Nanak Dev Ji is going to bring, we're going to say it's not sacred enough. Theek hai? But then they said, Guru Nanak Dev Ji brought in Kalam and Dwat, and Maharaj wrote Mool Mantra over it. And they put it on a chonki, that paper, and said, okay, I'm going to take turns around the Mool Mantra. But then the Pandey said, why are you going to take turns around the Mool Mantra? Maharaj says, Gurbani is the sacred of them all. Bani jadiya, and the creator who created Gurbani, even which is sacred than the fire. So मैं Bani de आले दुआले फेरे लेने. ठीक है जी? Dev Ji were married before they became the name. There was a Sikh, his name is Bhai Hindal Ji, and Bhai Hindal Ji's brother Bhai Bayal Ji. So Bhai Bayal Ji's daughter was getting married. Now, during that time, Guru Amar Das Ji created a discipline of the Panth. ठीक है? Sikha ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਾਰ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੁਕਮ ਲਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ that whosoever comes to have darshan of the Guru, we have to partake the langar first. ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦਾ ਛਕਣਾ ਪਵੇਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ. So the Brahmins or the Pandits, they were very angry about it because they never wanted to sit along with the lower caste people. ठीक है जी? They never wanted to sit with them, have food with them. They never thought about it, and they were not ready to accept it. So during that time, even the Sikh used to go to the Pandey, the Brahmins, and they say कि साडा विआह कराओ. ठीक है? But Guru Amardas ji's time, Pai Bayal ji went to Pande, went to the Amardas. You go and tell Guru Amardas that we're not going to get your daughter married. If you're the true Guru, je tusi sache Guru ha, te tusi vyah ape kara lao. ठीक है जी. So Maharaj sent Pai Jetha ji, who later became the fourth Guru, Guru Ramdas ji, and they asked Pai Jetha ji to go and recite the Bani of Lama. ठीक है जी. उन्होंने बाणी ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਚਾਰਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਲਾਮਾ ਦੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਚਾਰਨ ਕੀਤੀ 4 ਪੌੜੀਆਂ ਲਾਵਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਉਸ ਉਪਰੰਤ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਜਿਨ ਕੀਆ ਤਿਸ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਜਗਤ ਅੰਧੜੇ ਲਾਇਆ ਸ਼ਬਦ and then the Bani of Guru Amardas ji, which is the Anand Sahib. They recited the Bani, and that was the first Anand karaj ever happened. ठीक है जी. And later on, in Guru Gobind Singh Sahib ji's Sama, there were in Anandpur Sahib, there is a Sakhi that comes in that there were a lot of ghosts in Sri Anandpur Sahib. बहुत भूत प्रेत सिगे Anandpur Sahib ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇੜੇ ਤੇ. So one day a ghost came to meet the Sikh. So Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj asked them that why are you so less in number? ਥੋੜਾ ਕਾਊਂਟ ਕਿਉਂ ਘਟ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ? ਭੂਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬਈ we are less in number because your Sikh, they are reading the Bani of Lama. So when they read and practice the Bani of Lama, when they die, they do not become ghost. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. ਉਹ ਭੂਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਜੂਨੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਬਾਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਲਾਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਜਾਪ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. So that's what our historical texts say. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. So ਆਪਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਅਭਿਆਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, these are the ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ਾਂ that Maharaj gives us, but we do not value it. That's what the Sakhi says. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. Now there are different practices that we need to dig on because it is important for us to talk about them. So mostly in Punjab, the problem is that everyone is not a Sikh. ठीक है? And what we see, we try to, especially when it comes to marriage practices or any different kind of ceremonies, there are a lot of superstitious beliefs that comes into place. When they were started long back, but they deviated those thoughts and things, they deviated from their path. And now there is not much relevance to it, but we are still following because our Babbe, Dadde and their Dadiyan used to follow it. ठीक है जी. So it's more like that मेरे घर च प्रसादा बनदा रोज़ आलू दे परांठे. ठीक है. If we eat it today, and after 20 years from now, if somebody comes in and tells to my Singhani, says कि नहीं जी, we're going to not eat आलू दे परांठे, we're going to eat yogurt or oats or something like that. ठीक है? But my Singhani is going to say, this is the maryada of the house. ठीक है जी? That is how the maryada is propagated. ठीक है? That's how the customary practices comes into picture. So the culture has a lot of things associated with it. But eating aloo de parathe was not a mandatory thing at our house. It was an option or a choice. We did it on a purpose. Maybe we liked it, or maybe the potatoes were cheaper back then. ठीक है? But we didn't know it. Yeah? Today when we're talking about it, we didn't know it. But today how we see it makes a difference. ठीक है जी? How we perceive it makes a difference. So is karan karke, this is very important to discuss. So the culture is more like a lokrit. It's more like what happens, what people see. Acha ji falane ne iddan kita, we're going to do the same way. Acha ji ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਦਾਂ ਕੀਤਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਜਾਗੋ ਕੱਢੀ, we're going to do the same way. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮਹਿੰਦੀ ਕਰਾਈ, we're going to do the same way. If they have booked a costly palace, we're going to do the same way. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? And that's how the lok-reet propagates. But then we have the religion, then you have the dharmik reet. A dharmik reet is different from the lok-reet because it follows the practices that the gurus have given. ठीक है जी? That is more economical, I would say. That is more relevant, and that's more helpful and spiritual as well. ठीक है जी? So what the people are going to follow, they're going to follow what the society pressurizes them to do. ठीक है जी? But Sikhi doesn't takes pressure. ਹੁਣ ਬ੍ਰਾਹਮਣ ਸੀਗੇ, When they said to Guru Amar Das ji, theek hai, implications of it. Theek hai ji? They wanted to abolish the caste practices. And that's why Maharaj says, no, we're not going to get into that pressure, but we're going to absorb and say, theek hai ji, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਉਣਾ ਨਿਰਮਾਣਤਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਿਮਰਤਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦਾ ਛਕੋ and everyone is equal in the eyes of the Guru. That's the practice. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. Now, the culture says ring ceremony. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. Now, this is the ceremony which came from the West. There were no ceremonies like that happening in India. Cross, है ना? So this is more like exchanging the ring. And I'll give you a beautiful example to understand this. You know what happens? The diamond industry, even in Canada, diamonds are very much aware in abundance, but there's a hype that diamonds are rare, has been created by the diamond industry to think that diamonds are forever. ठीक है जी? They manipulated your mind and they brought in all the different kinds of advertisements for you to follow those practices and think like, okay, if you're gonna get married, you need to have a ring. ठीक है जी? And that ring should be a diamond ring. So this is how the society affects and impacts you and manipulates your mind indirectly. ठीक है जी? So ring ceremony is a lok reet, it's a culture, but a kurmai or Anand karaj is a dharmik reet. We're going to talk about what kurmai means, but it's literally translates to ring ceremony. ठीक है? Just think it that way. So, Kurmai and Anand karaj is the dharmik reet that Sikhi allows and follows, but the lok reet of ring ceremony Sikhi denies, and one should not get into that level. ठीक है जी? Next, you have extravagance. That just think about a society puts pressure on you. कि सानू ते असी ते घर गए सी, they've invited so many people. उन्हां दे विआहां ते गए सी, they've invited so many people. We have to bring in these many people to our marriage. We have to put it, we have to make it lavish. We have to make it so glossy. It should look like this. We're going to do destination wedding. We're going to go this. We're going to announce it. We're going to give these many gifts. We're going to take these many gifts. All these kind of things that put pressure on your pocket, it's not because of that you're happy because of your marriage, but because you want to showcase to people or the people want you to do it for them. ठीक है जी? So, the lokri, the culture says that it should be glossy, it should be, so hype created thing, but a religion says it should be simple. That simplicity brings in economic thought, but at the same point of time, it brings you a little less pressure onto your mind as well. Because you do not have to worry about what would happen, what would I wear that day, should not be a question that a Sikh should ask, but should always ask this question before the Anand karaj, whether my Guru is going to accept me or not. Whether the Guru is going to bless me with a beautiful, blissful life with my partner or not. Think about those people who have spent so much of money on their marriages and they end up getting divorced after those marriages, doesn't make sense. So it's similar to, think about when we go to a city or a country and we want to pack our bags, what do we carry? We carry food, we carry water, we carry all the necessity items. But think about, if you do not carry all these necessities and you put rocks into your baggage and you take that bag along on your shoulders and you try to walk to the other city or country, do you think that those rocks are going to help you out in the other country? They're going to not. So what's going to help out? Wisdom is going to help out. Beautiful simplicity is going to help out. Love, compassion, being neutral, being natural is going to help out. Not these kind of lavish things where people divorce because of money. Or the kind of expectation that the other person is not able to fulfill. Marriages fail because of that. Think about it. So Maharaj says that do not get into this loop of, the kind of pressure that society puts you on, but be simple and follow a simple practice. How beautiful it will be. Just think about if you go to the Gurdwara You sit in front of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, you listen to Kirtan, and that Kirtan gives you that Anand, the happiness, which otherwise sometimes you're not able to focus on because of all the distractions that are there around you. It happens. And we have seen those things happening around. The beautiful part or the main part of the Anand karaj is the Lama. People miss it. They go to the banquet halls, they book all the different kind of areas, but whenever they come to the Gurdwara, they go to the Ragi Singh and they, Bhai Sahib, kinna time laguga? And the Granthi Singh says it's going to take 45 minutes to 1 hour. I say, Bhai Sahib, cheti nahi ho sakta. Our guests are waiting back there. But just think about it, this is the main ceremony. This is going to give you a blissful life going forward. But we're going to rush it because that's the pressure that has been building across. Theek hai ji? Then the culture says, nachalo, you dance, you drink, you whatever you want to do, this is going to bring a lot of foundations to me. No. Marriage is not a foundation. Marriage is a beautiful living. Marriage is a beautiful spiritual entity which is going to nourish you from the inside out. It's going to fill all the... It's going to not cause problem to your life. You can still do whatever you want to do, but if you're on the right path. But if you were doing all those bad habits before your marriage, and then फिर ते लगूगा burden, है ना? जे माड़े काम पहला करते सी फिर ते burden लगूगा. पर जे तुसी अपना सब कुछ पिछला त्याग करके चंगे काम करना चाहते हैं, then you have to renounce all it and think about this is the beautiful life I'm going to live on. ठीक है? So the culture says no dance. The culture says dance is that culture. ठीक है जी? Because that dance, those drinks, they're not going to nourish your soul. Again, it's the same thing. You're going to put rocks into your backpack and you're going to walk across the other country. Think about this country. Is dowry. Culture kenda bhi tusi ki daunge, है ना? Where are you going to go? You're going to give for the dowry. Ki tusi daaj vich daunge. But देखो गुरबाणी की कहती है गुरबाणी कहती है if you're going to give something to your daughter, so there's a Sakhi. Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji's daughter was getting married, and Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji's wife is Mata Damodari Ji are giving Sikhya. The change that we bring in today, मार कहते daughter दी सेवा करनी, ठीक है जी? Consider them as your own mother and daughter, and the other way around, ठीक है जी? ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀਰ ਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਸਮਝਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕਿ ਦੂਜੇ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੀਬੀ ਦੇ ਮਾਪਿਓ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਾਪਿਓ ਆ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? ਸੋ ਮਾਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਕਿ ਭਈ ਫੋਲੋ ਦਿਸ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ, ਡੂ ਨਾਟ ਲੈਟ them go hungry. ਭੁੱਖੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣ ਦੇਣਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਕਰੋ. Whenever somebody comes to your house, feed them with food, serve them with pure compassion, and serve your mother-in-law and father-in-law with love. And that's how you're going to live a beautiful and blissful life. That order. ठीक है? माता ते पिता नू सिखा रहे आ कि अपनी धी नू जे देना ते गुण दे के भेजो. ठीक है? Just think about a daughter whose family was very rich. ठीक है? And they gave all the money, they gave a house, they gave a car to the husband. फिर घर जाके husband ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੱਚੀ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਲੜਾਕੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੀ. She used to fight a lot, agree with what the husband was saying. She never used to accept what the husband wanted her to. Thinking of even accepting them. ठीक है जी? की करना चाहिए? We should focus on the guna. की है बीबी विच माता ने की दिता, माता ने निर्माणता सिखाई के नहीं. ठीक है जी? The mother taught her compassion or not. Is she ignorant? Is she following her wrath or not? She wakes up in the morning or not? She lives a better life or not? It's not just about the BB. It's about the other way around as well. The mother and father should also consider the same thing for the husband. ठीक है जी? ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਆ ਇਹ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਵੇਲੇ ਉੱਠਦਾ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਉੱਠਦਾ, ਇਹ ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਦਾ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦਾ, ਇਹ ਰਹਿਤਵਾਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ, ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੀਂਦਾ, ਜੂਆਂ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੇਡਦਾ. That's what we do. But the other way around as well. ਕਿਤੇ ਬੀਬੀ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦਾ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਤੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ. ਦੋਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਉਂਦਾ. If the BB is going to be ill for a few days, Can the Sikh takes care of her or not? ठीक है जी. These are the things that the Gurmat says that a mother. ठीक है जी. So Maharaj says, हर प्रभ मेरे बाबला, हर देवो दान मैं दाजो. कहते की दो, हर कपड़ो हर शोभा देवो, जित सवर है मेरा काज. ठीक है, तुसी की दो? कहते give me the cloth. मैंने कपड़ा दो, कादा? शोभा. कादा? Give me those guna which I can take along with me to the next family, so that I can do seva of the family as well. So that whenever I go to that family, ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨਾ ਕਹਿਣ ਕਿ ਮਾਪਿਓ ਨੇ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਿਖਾਇਆ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? So that's how a BB should focus on their life. And also at the same point, when a Sikh or a husband is there, he should all kara nahi karna, hai na? Now there are important aspects to consider. We're going to walk through this couple of slides, ਫਿਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਪਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਤਾਂ ਪਾਤਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਵਖਰੇਵਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ. A Sikh or a BB can be of any caste, or rather we should not know, or we should not ask for ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਜਾਤ ਦੇ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਗੋਤ ਕੀ ਆ. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਤੇ ਨਾ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? We should never follow it. ਫਿਰ a Sikh daughter must be married to a Sikh. This part of the Ratnama, the Rat Maryada of SGPC as well, or says a Sikh should always marry so a Sikh. Sikh ਦਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਿਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਧਰਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. Sikh ਦਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਾਰਜ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. A Sikh marriage should be solemn. ਵਿਆਹ ਕਾਰਜ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ. That should not happen. They cannot go out in the church and say ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ we want to do something different. ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕੀ Anand karaj ਕਰਾਈ ਜਾਂਦੇ. We're going to get to go to church and say, you know, we declare yourself to be husband and wife. That is not should be done. ठीक है जी. So they should get married by the Anand marriage. Then you have child marriage. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਾਲ ਵਿਵਾਹ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਰਜ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ. So nobody should marry. They can only get married when they are of the age. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. Of the age ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੀਬੀ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਬੀਬੀ ਹੁਣ ਵਿਆਹੁਣ ਜੋਗੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਆ. She is mature enough physically, mentally, socially. She is able to take care of her family. And also the other side, the Sikh, who is physically, mentally, socially stable and is ready to get married mentally. ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਿਆਣਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਯੋਗ ਵਰ ਲੱਭ ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. The elders can find out a match only then. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. Marriage may not be preceded by the engagement ceremony. That's what we discussed. So even in the older period, so ਇੱਕ ਜਨਮ ਪੱਤਰੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ what is that called? The astrologers used to come and they used to make a janam patri. It's more like a kundali. At what time the child was born, what was the year, what was the date, what was the season, things like that. And they used to predict ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਆ ਇਹ ਕਿਤੇ ਮੰਗਲੀਕ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇਹ ਬੱਚਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ. So they used to predict the future. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. And they used to say ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ ਆ ਫਲਾਣੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦਾ ਇਸ ਬੀਬੀ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਆਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ. So that everyone is equal. ਭਾਵੇਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਆ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਥਾਵੇਂ ਜੰਮਿਆ, ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਸਮੇਂ ਜੰਮਿਆ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੀ ਜੋਤ ਇੱਕੋ ਸਮਾਨ ਹੈ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. So no caste, no thought against the practices that we think mostly ਕਿ ਆ ਬੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੰਗਾ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ, ਜਾਂ ਇਹ ਜਾਤ ਦਾ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ, ਜਾਂ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੰਗਾ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ, ਜਾਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਕਿੱਤਾ ਕੀ ਆ. all those things should not be considered that way. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. Then there are a couple of sacrileges that we should not be committing. ਇਹ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੇਅਦਬੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ. ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਾਰਜ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੇ. ਸੋ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇ ਫਲਾਵਰ ਸਿਹਰਾ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਪਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਮੁੱਖ 'ਤੇ, ਇਹਦੇ ਘੁੰਡ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਬੂਲ ਆ, ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਵੀ ਸ਼ੁੱਡ ਨਾਟ ਬੀ ਡੂਇੰਗ ਦੈਟ. ਫਿਰ ਡੈਕੋਰੇਟਿਵ ਹੈਡਗੇਅਰ ਔਰ ਰੈਡ ਥਰੈਡ ਬੈਂਡ ਅਰਾਊਂਡ ਦ ਵੈਸਟ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੇ ਮੌਲੀ ਬੰਨ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬੰਨ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਗਾਨਾ ਬੰਨ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬੰਨ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ. ਵੀ ਸ਼ੁੱਡ ਨਾਟ ਬੀ ਡੂਇੰਗ ਦੈਟ. ਦੈਨ ਵਰਸ਼ਿਪਿੰਗ ਆਫ ਐਂਸੈਸਟਰਸ ਡਿਊਰਿੰਗ ਦੈਟ ਟਾਈਮ, ਪਿੱਤਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਜਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ. doesn't allow us to do that in Sikhi. They say that you can only worship Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਹੈ. Everything is part of that whole creation. If you worship the Creator, you worship everything else as well. So Sikh should always follow the practicing of meditating on Naam rather than getting in mind. ठीक है जी. Then there are a couple of customary practices that people follow, dipping feet in milk mixed with water. And they say that they're going to make you pure before the marriage. But it's again a false practice because anyways that milk is not going to be with you. ठीक है जी. फिर तुसी keep you're never going to walk on the floor again. You are going to. ठीक है जी. So just think about it. इस करके फिर marriage कहती है that this part of the बेअदबी you should not be doing. Then फिर करोली भरना, filling the pitcher, where the mother or the elder of the family or the sister of the family, they go to the nearby Gurdwara or the mandir or anywhere near the well. They used to take people, a lot of things happen because of what the elders say. ठीक है जी. हुण अपने जिहड़ा thought process आ उहदे हिसाब नाल the kind of things that we go through today, it's more like कि साडा मन doesn't get entangled to those things. ठीक है. It's part of one of such thing ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ thought process ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ according whatever thoughts that they try to propose in, we should not be following as per what Sikhi contradicts to. ठीक है जी. And then ਜਿਹੜੇ what is that called? Because those satani are very vulgar in nature. If you really listen to them, if you are a well-disciplined human being, but people take it for understanding because it comes in together and they try to insult the other side. It's like teri maa iddan, and then they say that teri pua iddan, the other way. So they try to insult the but then they take it as a healthy practice. They do not bura nahi mande, पर फिर भी इदी लोड़ नहीं है, because a lot of rola, a lot of problems and a lot of people get angry and they fight into these things because of the satani. So this doesn't make sense, because imagine you, even though it went to that level where the vulgarity comes and people try to insult the other person, because that is what inside them, they want to take it out, but they do not get an opportunity to do so. So they take this as an opportunity and they try to insult the other person. But the other person, even though the person is feeling bad, has to smile on their face and think about, no, this is going to be fine. But that doesn't make sense. Then performing havans. So the people back then, when there were Brahmanism across, people used to do havan. So oh nahi karna, Sikhi de vich, it's a sacrilege, it's a taboo, we should not be doing. Then Vedi, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਅਗਨ ਦੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਫੇਰੇ ਲੈਣੇ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਵਰਜਿਤ ਆ. Then ਹੁਣ ਇੱਥੇ ਨੱਚ ਗਾਉਣ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ. Even back then the prostitutes or the ਨੱਚਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਬੀਬੀਆਂ ਬੁਲਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ, even in Punjab this happens in the big banquet hall today, where the ਨੱਚਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਬੀਬੀਆਂ are being paid to dance on the marriages. But this is not what Sikhi says. Sikhi says focus on Bani, have a simpler living, focus on what you're going to do tomorrow and after you're going to get married. So all these thoughts a Sikh should not deviate from. Think about, if you're going to see somebody or some girl or some lady who's dancing on the floor with short clothes, what thoughts might come to your mind? If all those bad songs are being played at the back end, and those songs which have vulgarity in them, they're going to come to your ears, and the next moment you're going to be sitting in the Gurdwara and thinking about, Maharaj bless me with a beautiful life. That doesn't make sense. Theek hai ji? So consulting horoscope, as we mentioned before, horoscope is the Kundali, the Janampatri, that we should not be thinking about exchanging or ke eda jeda lagan kada liye. It's not a practice. In Dona nu, if you can do, it's an amazing thing to do. Sit with the Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj Ji and read Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj Ji Shabad by Shabad, word by word. Try to contemplate and understand the Gurbani, because that Gurbani is going to stay with you across your journey. Theek hai ji? So, a Sahaj Path or Khand Path Sahib should be done before. Then do Naam Jap for the Chardi Kala of the marriage. Theek hai? Whatever time you have before the Anand karaj, do not waste the time thinking about XYZ. Focus that time, because the time is precious. Just do Naam Jap and focus on the Gurbani and do Ardas to Sache Paatshah Ji. May Maharaj bless us with this beautiful time. Theek hai ji? So this is the Sikh should do. Then add Lama Bani to the Nitnem. The third thing. So add a Bani of Lama into your Nitnem. It's a very small Bani in terms of the content, but it's a beautiful Bani. Every word brings you and helps you to dive in this, gonna nourish you from the inside out and make you ready for the beautiful union of Anand Karaj. Theek hai ji? So do not stress out. Do not think about what's going to happen. Ki hoga? Am I going to be good? Ki mera jehda sathi hai changa hoga? Am I going to be a good husband? And I'm going to do Ardas to Maharaj Ji so that Maharaj bless me with this beautiful wisdom to be able to live a blissful life. Theek hai ji? So have that kind of a surrender attitude. Don't think about nahi ji. Even though people say that now, when you're sitting in the Lama, in the Anand karaj ceremony, ithon ta pehla uth jayo. If you're gonna get up after your partner, they're gonna overpower you. Theek hai ji? They're gonna overpower you across your life, your marriage. Theek hai? But that doesn't make sense. Theek hai ji? What makes sense is that a Sikh should be in a thought of surrendering to your partner. If you're gonna surrender yourself, the other person is also gonna surrender themselves to you. Think about it. A Bibi has left their life, their parents, everything, their house, their money, everything she has left, and she has taken you as the husband. And once she is ready to come to you, and she is given 100%, you also should be able to give that 100% back. And that becomes a beautiful union across. Theek hai ji? So don't stress out, don't think about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Have faith in Paramatma. Everything happens in His Hukam, and His Hukam is beautiful. Theek hai ji? Okay, so work on the expenditure list. Keep it small. Do not think about कि मैं इन्हू खुश करना, उन्हू खुश करना, इद्दा करना, उद्दा करना. नहीं. Keep it small, keep it simple, keep it valuable and memorable. Think about ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਦੇ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ 'ਚ ਮਿਲੇ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ, you're going to bring them to your marriage and forget about it. Think about it. You're going to spend money for it. ਠੀਕ ਆ? Why? How do Sikhs get married? Sikh ਕਿਵੇਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ? Sikh ਸਮਾਗਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਆ, ਸਹਿਜ ਪਾਠ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. When they do it, they prepare prashada, they invite other Gursikhs. ठीक है? They invite other Gursikhs to come to the Gurdwara to bless them for the union. Once they bless them, they request them prashada ਛਕ ਕੇ ਜਾਏ. Once they eat prashada, it's not just prashada. ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਬ੍ਰਹਮ ਭੋਜ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ, the kings used to call the Brahmins so that the Brahman blessed them for their kingdom to grow. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? Marriage is not exactly the same like that, but it's something beyond that. ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਛਕੋ, and ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦਾ ਛਕੋਗੇ, bless us with your blessings. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ? So that we can live a happy life. That's how they're going to do. But just think about if the Gursikhs comes to your marriage and says, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਪੁੱਤ ਆਵੇ, think about this way. You're going to, the Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj Ji is in Anandpur to Maharaj. And you ask Maharaj, we want to marry your family along, and you request Maharaj, please come to our marriage. Maharaj comes in. But do you think that Maharaj is going to stay? But do you think that Maharaj is going to stay with you for long? No. Stay with you for long? No. So what happens even then? When you call Maharaj, call them with love. When you call Maharaj, call them with love. Maharaj to see aao, bring your Gursikhs along. When you're going to come to us, this kind of destination wedding that people do. So there's a Hukamnama by Akal Takht Sahib which banned the destinations wedding. that you should not be doing such things, because people have taken Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj to the beaches. They put all the big pandals out there, and that caused a huge sacrilege, beadbi of Maharaj, because those things should not happen at that point of time. Okay? People drink alcohol and other things at the bank or at the beaches. Okay, ji? Then posing in Darbar Sahib. So there have been instances where people or the bride or groom, they start posing in front of Gurudwara, in front of Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj. When your marriage or the Anand karaj ceremony is done, when the Anand karaj ceremony, you should always ask to Granthi Singh what is the Maryada. The Granthi Singh will explain you that what are the suitable places for Abaji to take memories, pictures, whatever you want to do. But always, always respect Maharaj first. Because just think about the same thought, Maharaj has come, it's your blissful day, and you don't want it to get ruined. Theek ji? Then inappropriate dressings. So people wear different kind of clothing, which makes it difficult for them to sit in the lama, to get up and too fluffy. It should not be too heavy. It should not be too glossy. It should not be. I'm not saying think about it, but just for now, think about this is your union with Maharaj. So it's not just you and your partner getting married. It's about you and your sansar nu nikhosh karna. Think about this. Theek? So guests attending intoxicated. There have been instances where people coming in the company, if they are drunk or they have done any kind of nasha, they are not allowed in the Gurdwara. Theek hai ji? So this happened in Halton, in Oakville, quite long now, but this kind of seating is not allowed. The couple and everybody else at the Gurdwara are only Ania. You should not be thinking about, I'm going to have a special place. No, everybody is equal, and that's how it should be in the Gurdwara. Okay, ji. So this is the last slide. I think most of it we have covered. Hanji. So procedure before the sacred day, just before that time,